my name is Isha Patel, Executive Coding Officer of KITE, and welcome to KITE's free Java course. At KITE, we're on a mission to teach people across the globe the latest coding technologies. Today, we're going to learn about loops. For loops. For loops are similar to while loops, except you know exactly how many times you want to iterate, and therefore will run only a certain number of times. You follow the same steps as a while loop, such as initializing your variable, having a condition, and changing your variable, but all these elements are written together inside your initialization expression. A common occurrence with for loops in Java is to create a nested for loop, which is a for loop inside a for loop. For a for loop looks similar to a while loop, and it begins with your keyword for, the initialization of your variable, your test or condition, your increment, and then your statement. So for example, for int I equals 0, I is less than 6, and I plus plus, print out the variable. So system.out.println I. Gives the numbers 0 to 5 because 0 is less than 6, so it prints out 0. And then it increases it by 1 after this is over. So now it's 1, 1 is less than 0, and it repeats the entire process until it gets to 6. It stops at 6 because 6 is not less than 6. So let's try a harder problem. So let's create a for loop to print out the multiplication table for 4 up to 12. And a multiplication table looks like this. 4 times 0 equals 0. 4 times 1 equals 1, and then so on. So we wanted to print out this. So what we do is we begin with, let's create a variable, string y equals 4x, because this is going to stay the same consistently throughout the printing. And then let's have our for loop. So for int x equals 0, x is less than or equal to 12, and then x plus plus, we're going to print out system.out.println y, which is 4x, and then whatever number you're going to have, so 0, 1, so you're going to need the x for that, y plus x plus equal sign. That's going to be equal to 4 times x. So when we print this out, we get, so 4 times 0 equals 0, 4 times 1 equals 4, 4 times 2 equals 8, and so on. And the last thing for a for loop is creating a nested for loop, which is a for loop inside a for loop. And an example of this would be, print the following pattern using nested for loops. So 1, and on the next line 1, 2, and on the next line 1, 2, 3, and then so on. And to do this problem, it's important to understand the difference between print and println. So println, what it's going to do is going to print whatever you want, like whatever code you want, then it's going to print a new line under that code. But print is just going to print everything on the same line. So it's important to understand this so we can create our for loop. So for int z equals 1, because we're starting with number 1, and then z is less than or equal to 5, because there are 5 rows and it goes up till the number 5, z plus plus, we need to increment. And then inside here we're going to have another for loop. So for int x equals 1, x is going to be less than or equal to z, and also x needs to be incremented. So this is how it's going to work. X is going to be like these numbers inside. X is going to be like the numbers in one line, and then z is going to help us like go to the next line. And what we should print out from here is system.out dot print, not println, because we want to print everything on the same line. We want to print 1, 2, 3 on the same line. We don't want to print 1 and then 2 on the next line and then 3 on the next line. So we're just going to print and we're going to put X. And then over here, this is after your second curly bracket, you're no longer in this for loop, you're on the outer for loop. And you're going to write system.out.println. This is just going to print the next line, so it helps us to go from this to this. If we didn't have the second println, it would print like this: 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this second println helps us to go to the next line. And when we print this out, it should give us our 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is how it basically works. It's going to look at Z. Z is number 1, right? And it's going to go to the next for loop, because now that we know Z equals 1, int X equals 1, and is 1 less than or equal to 1? It is. So it's going to print out number 1 over here. So we can see that I printed out 1 over here. And then it's just going to print a new line. So this is your new line. Then it's going to go over here again. And also an important thing to understand is after it comes out of this for loop, this loop terminates. So it's done. So X doesn't increase again, because if X did increase, X would be 2, but Z is still 1. And 2 is not less than or equal to 1. So then the loop terminates right there. And then it goes to the for loop again. And Z increases after this print statement. So now Z is 2. So now that Z is 2, it's going to go over here to the second for loop. And X is still 1 because the loop terminated. So now is 1 less than or equal to 2? It is. So then it prints out 1 again. So this loop goes again. And this loop goes until it's finished. And then it goes out to the outer loop. So then it increases to 2. Is 2 less than or equal to 2? It is. So then it prints out 2. So we see it printed out 1, 2 here. Then it increases to 3. But 3 is not less than or equal to 2. So then this loop terminates, and then it prints out the new line. Then it goes here again, and now Z is equal to 3, and then it does the same thing. So then it prints out up to 1, 2, 3, then 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's how the code for this works. Thanks for watching today's video. Make sure to join our Discord link below if you have any questions or want help or answers to any exercises. There you'll have access to an open forums and can interact with the vast coding community. Also, follow our Instagram as well.